Imagine a modern Chinese city with busy, bustling streets and massive, glittering skyscrapers, but without the fear of the tyrannical Chinese Communist government. Well, this city actually does exist, and it's known as Taipei, Taiwan. Taipei and Taiwan as a country is one of the last surviving free democracies in the Far East, and that's something that we as Americans take for granted each and every day. Today, I'm going to take you through the complicated past history, the present day modern era conditions, and the current challenges faced by the Taiwanese people and by Taipei as a city. Firstly, Taipei has a very rich history and a complicated past. It started in the late 1800s as a settlement for Chinese mainlanders from the Fujian province. They were moving from a variety of reasons, such as famine and bad government overreach. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, Taiwan first belonged to the government of China and was flying the Chinese flag. Then, after losing the Sino-Tibetan War, for the next 40 years, Taiwan was under the Japanese flag. After this period, when Mao Zedong took power in China and the communist government took power in mainland China, they annexed Taiwan, but they gave it special administrative authority, and therefore the city of Taipei was allowed to grow in size by essentially absorbing the towns and cities around it and villages and all the people that were in there. That included indigenous people as well as the mainland Chinese that were already staying there. According to the US State Department, the Chinese government, the communist Chinese government, forced nationalists into exile onto Taiwan, and fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, those Chinese nationalists essentially ended up becoming the new political leaders in Taiwan, therefore blossoming an anti-communist, anti-government sentiment by the Taiwanese people. Secondly, modern Taipei as a city is a sprawling, populous city with advanced technology and massive infrastructure. Taipei is very economically important, not only because of its proximity to China, Japan, and other Far Eastern places, but it's also a massive, massive trade hub and port city. According to the Taiwanese Embassy, the Taipei has a population of about 2.65 million people with a GDP of around $25,004. Now, the culture of the people in Taipei and in Taiwan as a whole is still very, very similar to mainland China, considering that over 90% of the people currently living in Taiwan are descended directly from mainland Chinese citizens. The only difference is, and you can find this on World Travel Guide, is that the Taiwanese people are very, very hard-headed, and they definitely do enjoy their freedoms and aspects of Western culture that can now be found there on the island. They don't want to or like to be under Chinese authority. My third point is that Taiwan and Taipei face complex issues which test their people and their political leaders. Although Taipei has been its own city since 1949, it is still viewed by China as its own territory. According to the Council of Foreign Relations, the economic relations between China and Taiwan continue to grow despite this threat. Since Taipei was rapidly industrialized, this has hurt the environment, and now, according to Brookings, over 50% of the natural forest in Taiwan has been cleared for homes and businesses. In conclusion, I discussed a fascinating, giant city. I took you through their brief and complex history, their cultured and very productive modern era, and some of the complex issues that they face today. Now, I want you to imagine living in Taiwan and fearing a Chinese government takeover any day, and therefore their hard-headedness and their anti-government sentiments should be respected that much more because of the fact that they're such a small island and they have such a small population when compared to mainland China. That is it for today. Now I would like to open the floor for any questions. Yes. Okay. She asked, how did the Taiwanese remain autonomous while being so close to mainland China? And that's a great question. They remain autonomous because of their anti-communist sentiments. They've gained a lot of support from Western countries like the US, like Japan, and therefore funding that goes into Taiwan from these countries and weapons and other technology helps them against China. Do we have any other questions? Yes. Okay. They asked, how did Taipei become so large despite being a small island? Taipei as a city became so large, one, because of the mass immigration of Chinese mainlanders from Fujian, and two, the high population density that resulted from it. This has created a very populous city that is very economically important to this planet. Thank you.